Joining me now is Cuison Villazor. Rose is an immigration law professor at Rutgers University. She joins me from our Los Angeles bureau. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, Natalie.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So let's talk first about the president's plan to send migrants to sanctuary cities. First, I want to ask you, what do you think about that plan just in general? Then we'll talk about its legality. First of all, your response.
There are two key points to talk about here. There are two key questions. So first, here the president is abusing his executive powers by using the enforcement apparatus of the federal government to essentially violate the law. And the second point here is that there's a question as to whether he's even constitutionally allowed to do so. Essentially, he is engaging in a political motivated strategy to punish his political opponents.
Right, so that's what everyone is saying, that he's looking for some way to get even for not getting his wall. But apparently, even though the White House said Thursday that this plan was dead, the sanctuary city plan, that this wasn't going to happen, now we learn that President Trump is trying to figure out a way to still do it, to skirt around the law or to find a legal avenue. Might he?
Well, the lawyers within the Department of Homeland Security has told him that there are problems, legal problems, with enforcement of this type of a policy. The Department of Homeland Security can only engage in certain actions that are part of its mission to enforce immigration law. As you stated, the president is going around that. He's tweeting a policy that is ill-conceived and is politically motivated.
And also, we've learned, CNN has learned, that the president has told the acting head of Homeland Security that he would grant him a pardon if he were sent to jail for having border agents block asylum seekers. That would completely be against U.S. law, would it not?
Absolutely. That is also yet another example of the abuse of the executive power. Here in particular, it's an abuse of the pardon power. He is giving a pre-pardon to a government official and allowing him to break the law. So not only does that violate the pardon power, but one can say that that is also a form of conspiracy. If two people conspire together to violate the law, that is a conspiracy.
And another thing that's going on is also what's happening in Mexico. The policy to have asylum seekers remain in Mexico is still in effect. Do you see that continuing, and would that help at all alleviate the crush of cases at the border, or are you opposed to this?
Well, let me first explain what happened in that case. First, the government has had this protocol that forces asylum seekers to stay in Mexico until their case can be heard. That particular protocol was challenged, and just a few days ago, a federal judge struck it down, or issued an injunction, a nationwide injunction, so that that protocol, that policy will not be enforced. But just today, the Ninth Circuit and a three-judge panel stayed the injunction because the federal government has appealed the injunction that was set in place by the district court. And so we'll hear next week, there will be oral arguments before the Ninth Circuit as to the legality of this particular protocol.
The bottom line here, Rose, the president is unable to get immigration policy through Congress. He can't get his wall built. So it seems that he's looking for avenues to curtail migrants any way he can, it seems. So where do you think this is going to go, and will he succeed at any of this?
The issue here is whether the president is above the law. And thankfully, the courts are there to ensure that the Constitution and the due process rights of migrants are followed. The president's own lawyers have told him that the policies that he has tried to implement, in the different policies that he tried to implement, violate constitutional and statutory principles. He's not above the law, and that's ultimately what courts will have to examine.
We'll continue to discuss it. Of course, we really appreciate your expertise, Rose Cuison Villazor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.